welcome. My
Hey,
name is Maria,
Starfleet.
and this is Bob, and we are doing a brand new show here in Starfleet International called Petfleet.
Petfleet
Yay!
presents. Hi, everyone.
Yay!
We know we
All
promised
right.
this for a while, but we're here.
Well, welcome everybody to our brand new show, Petfleet, as just mentioned. And so we wanted to first start off like, how did Petfleet come about? So this is Bob Vossler's idea to have this show. So Bob, please tell our audience here how this show came about.
Well, in our wonderful pandemic world where we've done so many interesting virtual formats and shows and meetings and stuff like that, I think at one in particular, these guys, Gidget and Casanova, my pups, well, my 3-year-old pups, I don't know if you technically call them pups, but they'll always be pups to me. Anyway, they were particularly noisy during that session. And, I joked with them and said, my gosh, you guys want your own show? And then I got to thinking about it and I said, I'm a member of Petfleet, as are they, as are a lot of people. It's a wonderful auxiliary in Starfleet. And why don't we try to expand on the wonderful stuff that we do through their Facebook page and make an actual show where we can show everyone our pets, not just our pets, but another vehicle in which we can communicate and share our love of our animals, and tell a little of their story, how we came to adopt them, how we, their funny quirks, even former pets that have sadly passed, we could share those stories. I just thought it was another way for us to have fun. And with our new interest, ability to do some of these virtual formats, what better way than to share this, with the rest of the fleet and reach out, because we can go to all the regions with this. So that's where it came from, and I'm happy we're finally doing it. So
yeah, exactly. We had X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C. It seemed to get in a way, but we're finally here. So. But excellent. Yeah. So, Bob, why don't you introduce to our audience your precious fur babies?
Oh, okay. This is Gidget. She is a short-haired Chihuahua. And believe it or not, this is her half-brother, Casanova. And he is they share the same dad, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
So they are, half-brother and sister. My wife and I adopted them. They're both, on the USS Challenger as our mascots. They've been at many a meeting, and they're so nice and quiet. I can't.
Nice and quiet.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, this is a rarity. They're quiet
because they like to be heard.
Yes.
Sometimes they're yappers. They like their attention, but they love being held like this. So maybe that's the trick. But we've had them for 3 years now. Gidget just turned 3. Cassie's about to turn 3. Unlike every other pet that I've ever had, which was basically they find me, we actually found them. We did go through a breeder because we wanted, after many years of having an elderly Chihuahua who was like my best friend and was with me during a very difficult time, I decided I did want to get a small dog. Took me a while, and my wife did some research. She got very friendly with a breeder in Virginia, and we decided to go the puppy route and watch them from the beginning, and watch, them from tiny to, still tiny, but not as, as small. And we're glad we did. We're glad we did. They are generally very healthy, playful. They eat like there's no tomorrow. They love snacks. They love attention. They have enriched our lives. They are just so much fun. And, I can't imagine, they're like our kids.
Right.
So, they've just been wonderful. And by and large, they get along well with our cat, who's more of the elderly variety. And, they used to chase him, but, but really they're wonderful, and can't imagine life without them. And so they, that's their story. Gidget is the more alert, and she's always, watching things. She's always, always watching the window, always alerting us to any other dog that dares to walk down the street. Cassie is more playful. He loves to play with his toys more. He's, his squeaky toys. He's more of the little goofball. But we love them both. Somebody always asks, well, which one do you love, the most? I'm like, no, you can't do that. It's like two different kids.
Yeah, two different people. Yeah.
You can't pick, you can't pick them. They're just,
awesome.
But that's their story.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Well, good. The cat's just right over there. Hold on. Let me get the boy.
Yes, I know yours has made many an appearance on some virtual forums that we've had. So wait until you see Maria's cat.
Yeah. He's like, Mom, really? I was busy cleaning myself. All right. Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here is my baby, my everything.
Oh.
Q. Yes, I did name him after my favorite Star Trek character, Q. So he is 11 years old. I adopted him from PetSmart, actually. Oh. And so he's a rescue. And I was looking around to get a kitty cat, and I went to that store, to see what they had available. And I held him, and those moments where it's just right. That was that moment. He knew, I knew that it was just meant to be, and I was just I just knew I had to have him. It had that feeling. I just knew we were meant to be.
It's just a connection.
It's just a connection. We just had that connection. And so I had to, per the policy of the Animal Rescue League that I got him from, I had to present a letter from my apartment complex that I was allowed to have a pet, all that stuff.
Okay.
So, I came back the next day and he wasn't there. Because I got my letter and he wasn't there. I was like, oh my gosh, I missed out on my opportunity because he was such a sweeties. But I come to find out he was sent back to the shelter because he was developing an upper respiratory infection, which I did see him sneeze. So that it usually is an indicator for cats, of an upper respiratory. So I'm about ready, ladies and gentlemen, to put him down because he's not happy. All right. All right. You're done. Healthy. You're done. Yeah, he's done. All right. Thank you for being on the show, Kitty.
What type of cat is he again? Did you?
Yeah, he is a domestic short hair. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't hear that, he did hiss at me. He's over this show.
These guys are starting to get a little squirmy now too. So
yeah, exactly.
I may have to put them down here.
Yeah, all right. Okay. So on to the story. So I went to the Animal Rescue League, and he was still there. And what was really sweet was they brought him out to the little room where you can you interact with the pet, kind of like a little meeting room. Mm-hmm. He walked right up to me and just gave me a headbutt. Oh. He's like, good, you are my human. And then we've been together ever since. So he was 5 months. He was a little scrawny, little 5-pound, little scrawny little thing. Now he's a big old 17.5 pound little monster.
Yeah, he looks healthy size. Oh.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the true state of Bob Wasser's dogs.
Yes. Yeah. They like okay, Daddy. What about it?
So those are our pets. So one of the things that we want to do on this show is one segment of the show is called Member Spotlight. And we would like to have people come on the show to talk about their pets, how you came to the adoption, or if your pet has a really cool trick that they like to do. this show is not live, so we were able to, because pets do not work on,
Yes.
they work on their schedule. They
Yes.
work on their schedule. So if you would like to be able to submit like a video of a trick, or try and do it like when you're on the show, of your pet to do it like when they're on the show, that'll be great. This show is taped. It's not live, and we can work with you, and we would love to be able to have more members come on the show and talk about their pets, their fur babies. So we would love the more the merrier.
That's what this is all about. Just
this is what it's all about.
Sharing
Right.
our experiences with the animals that we love so much.
Right. So that's one segment of the show, is the member spotlight. Another segment that we would like to have on the show is Ask a Vet. So if there's any veterinarian or a vet tech out there who would like to be on the show and to talk about like some common like diseases or situations for pet owners, we would love to have you. I know like coming Christmas, poinsettias and cats do not go well together, So I know aware of that. But if there's like other things out there that, like some FYI tips for like pet care that you would like to share with our audience, we would love to have you in the Ask a Vet section of our show. And the other segment that we have of the show right now is called Viral Videos. So I don't know about you, Bob, but I love watching those videos.
Yes.
Those rescue videos.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we're going to have like a couple of like cutesy, like viral videos showed on this show as well, and, and I love those rescues. Here it is, this flea bitten little kitten, all scrawny and mangy and all this. And then now look at it. It's just a big old love bug. So, and give kudos to those people who do go out there to rescue pets, because that's volunteer work, and
that's got to be so rewarding, but also very sad when you come across a situation where you see any of the animals, in harsh conditions, that would break my heart.
So,
but we need your participation out there and your feedback. We hope that this will be entertaining and worthwhile to watch, and that it gives you a chance to be a part of this show.
Hey, everybody. All right. For our next segment here on the Petfleet show is viral videos. So, Bob, as I mentioned to you, and I'll mention to our audience, I love these viral videos.
Yeah.
I absolutely love these viral videos. And I think that the Dodo does a really good job with a wide variety. There's other videos that that are made by other people as well. But we're going to be looking at a couple of their videos for this segment. And they're just cute and adorable. I just love, and I super appreciate these people who volunteer their time to go into the situations and deal with, like these abandoned animals, or belong to owners that just don't treat their animals very nicely.
Look at that little one.
Oh. Yeah. So we're gonna play this video, folks. So yeah.
Leaving my house when I saw a little orange tail disappear behind my tire.
That's so precious, baby.
Aw. Look at them.
Fortunately, I had bent down in time to see one tiny paw go back up into the engine of the car. I don't know if she was trying to lead me to the others so much as she couldn't get up herself. When I opened the hood, I saw all four kittens. Their first reaction was kind of shrink together as a little bundle.
Oh, thank God she spotted.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh
gosh.
When I first brought them in, I took them down to the basement because they had a ton of fleas all over them.
Oh.
I have not seen a mom cat around. I've kept my eye out just because she could be hanging around expecting to find them or trying to feed them. The vet told me the kittens were 6 to 8 weeks old.
Oh.
When they were finally able to be introduced to my cat Steve, they started to pester Steve a lot. Steve is Lady Calico that I already have.
Of course,
She's like,
Steve.
you're embarrassing me. Please leave.
Hey. That's my cat. My cat would hiss at these kittens. I kid you not.
It wasn't her favorite. She was like, just don't bother me. I have other things to do.
Yeah, it's like little invaders, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
In her mind, you know. Like, what's going on here?
One of the kittens that I named the Chained Oblivion just latched onto her. I don't know if he thought she was his mom, but he would follow her all over the house. She would try to leave and try to run away. And he's like, no, I love you now. And I saw just how attached the Chained Oblivion got to Steve. I decided I was going to keep the Chained Oblivion. And she was like, do we really have to keep this annoying guy around? But then I see her like secretly lick his ears and I'm like, stop it.
Look at that.
Oh.
So my sister adopted the first one I found. I named her Goblin Barrel. The other two will likely be pending adoption soon. I was very grateful I was able to take care of them and make sure that they could have a loving home while they grew up to be adopted. I'll have cats named the Chained Oblivion and Steve.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. That cat came around.
Oh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. And this is our segment called Member Spotlight. And for our very first guest in Member Spotlight is Anne-Marie. Hey, Anne-Marie.
Hey, Anne-Marie.
Hey.
All right. And Anne-Marie is a bird owner. So I am going to hand over the stage to her to talk about her bird and yeah.
Mockabird.
Hi.
Mockabird. All right.
Well,
all right, let me there you go. All right, Anne-Marie, the stage is yours.
thank you.
Yeah.
A long time ago, the Rainforest Cafe used to have live parrots in the front of the restaurant. They've since ceased this for various reasons, but when I was there, I fell in love with a big macaw named Rocky. He hopped on my arm, and that was the beginning of my love for parrots because I wanted to take this bird home. He was so nice. So what I did was for 2 years, I researched parrots because parrots are not something that they're not throwaway animals. No animals are throwaway animals, but parrots are really difficult sometimes. They throw food, they bite, they have really sharp claws. They're not potty trained. And in all that, I still love them dearly. So as I said, I researched for 2 years on what kind of parrot. At the time, I lived in an apartment and I was working full time. So I couldn't have like a cockatoo, which is a clingy parrot. They need attention all the time. So I fell on this Myers parrot, which is what maca is. And I went to the local pet store, which was tiny, and said, I want a Myers parrot. And she had literally a 20-page questionnaire before she would sell you a parrot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 20 pages of, are you good enough for a parrot? So she got 2 Myers. And at the time I could sit on the floor. I was sitting on the floor, kind of talking to these 2 birds. And Maca hopped right on my knee and would have climbed up all the way into under my chin if he could have reached it. He was too young to do that. He was 8 weeks old when I got him. And so I got to wean him, and this got a really good connection between me and Maca. His full name is Maka Maka Anui Nui. Maka Maka means beloved friend,
Aw.
and a Nui Nui means colors of the rainbow. So
Oh.
he is an African bird. The species is based in South Africa, and he was hatched in Florida, lived in Iowa for a while, now lives in New Jersey, and he has a Hawaiian name. So he's kind of a little bit of everything.
And we can hear Maka right now.
Yeah.
Yep. He always wants to be in the conversation. And the reason he isn't here is because he will eat the keyboard.
Right.
And I don't want to have the keyboard eaten.
Yeah.
He will actually take the little, like if you have a G key, he'll take the little thing off of it. He's somewhat of a punk. But he's 23 now, and I've had him since he was a baby. And he's got maybe another 20 years on him. He's the only thing in my will. I needed to have him in the will because you don't just want to give somebody a parrot. Like I said, they bite, they throw things. They're not your average pet. They are not domesticated like cats and dogs who are used to living with humans. Parrots are not used to living with humans. So while Maka's tame, he still has that wild instinct, and which makes him a very interesting pet. Yesterday he was out. First he was sleeping on my knee, which is great trust. He's a prey animal, and yep, there he goes again. He's saying hi.
Yeah.
He's a prey animal, so for him to fall asleep on my knee is a great compliment, and that he felt so safe sleeping on my knee. And then he crawled into my sweatshirt and fell asleep again. So falling asleep in front of some other animal, which is what I would be considered to Maka, falling asleep in front of them is such a great compliment and such great trust.
Right.
So you never want to break that trust, because once you break a trust with a parrot, boy, if you can get it back, that's a miracle.
Right. So I have a question, Anne-Marie. So like, how long does it usually take to get trust from a parent? I've never been a bird owner. I've always owned cats. So
well, I was lucky with Maka because I hand fed him. And so there was naturally a bond there. But if you lose kind of trust, which I did because I went in and out of the house 2 times a year having knee surgeries. So I was gone a long time, and that did affect the trust that Maka had. So basically he wouldn't come out of the cage. So I just give him pets, which we in the bird world call scritches, on the back of his neck. I fed him by hand. You know, if I was having something that he could eat, I would give him a little piece of it so that he understood that, you know, I'm not a bad guy. I am not going to hurt him. And then just last week, I started letting him out, and he's a perfectly lovely bird now, but it takes a while.
It takes a while.
And it takes patience.
Yes, patience.
But
I feel like
Bob, do you have any questions for our guests?
Well, not so much questions, but a comment, because I feel like I'm Maka's uncle in a way. Because I have on occasion when Maria when Anne-Marie has had unfortunate surgeries for her knee and has had to spend some time in the rehab hospital, I've come over to feed and give Maka water. But I recall one time when Anne-Marie was in the rehab and I was in need of a place to stay. This was a number of years ago when my house was being built and it hadn't been finished yet, and I had like a month in between places, so I was able to stay at Anne-Marie's apartment, and I had my elderly Chihuahua Peppy. And I remember one distinct moment where Maka and I had developed such trust that the cage was on the right of me. I'm holding Peppy in my arm on the left of me, and I'm petting Maka's little head, and he was just like, if he was a cat, he would be purring. And Peppy was over here practically falling asleep, and the two of them got along. They did not, like, Peppy didn't bark at Maka. Maka didn't screech at or chirp at Peppy. And I'm like, wow, this is my this is my life for this month, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Maka's just a great bird, and was happy to have the attention. Of course, he really wanted mommy back, so
Right,
he
yeah.
was waiting, but I was the next best thing at the time. And as I joked with Anne Marie at one point, the most difficult thing wasn't taking care of Maka. It was another occasion when we had to completely dismantle his cage to bring him over to my place. This is after the place was that I moved in, and all of a sudden we're like, how do we put this thing together? Like this was worse than an IKEA project.
Oh,
But we managed it, and it was, and Maka was very patient. He had to stay in the little carrier until well, these humans will eventually get our cage put back together. So
yeah.
I guess
Come
I'm
on,
here to
humans.
hurry up, Uncle Bob and Mommy.
Yeah.
And the question always has been, how many Starfleet officers does it take to put a cage together?
Yes.
Right. Apparently
more than these two.
Talk about the cage,
So Anne-Marie, I have a question for you. So how is vet care? Is it hard to get a vet for a bird? Because I know cats and dogs, that's a dime a dozen. But how is it for a bird owner and getting vet care?
I am very lucky because I found one in Ocean County. Excuse me. When I lived in Iowa, I had to go 150 miles to find an avian vet.
Wow.
And it's better to go to an avian vet than just a regular vet, because birds, parrots especially, have anatomy that doesn't match any other animal. And
yeah, and
he agrees.
Your bird is agreeing with that at this point.
But yeah, so it's better to have an avian vet, but there are some places where that's just not possible. It's a kind of a new veterinary science because more people are getting birds as pets. One of the best schools is the University of California at Davis, which is obviously in Davis, California. That's outside of Sacramento. And they're producing a lot of good vets, avian vets. So my vet does cats, dogs, everything, and exotic pets, which parrots are considered exotic pets.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's great. He can hold Maka in his hand upside down with Maka's little feet in the air. Yeah. And he walks around with this bird in his hand, talking to people as though it's the most normal thing you've ever seen in your life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what advice would you have for a person who might be interested in getting a bird? Is there any advice?
Yeah, two things. Assess your situation. Do you work? Do you need something quiet because you're in an apartment? How much time can you give to the bird? Because, for instance, cockatoos, which are the big white birds that you see on Beretta and places like that, they're very loud, and they're what we call Velcro birds. They like to be on you all the time. So you need to afford them with a lot of time. So if you're working, you might not want a cockatoo. And if you're in an apartment, you definitely don't want a cockatoo because they're very loud. Their flock in the wild is very spread out. So they have to be loud in order to communicate with the rest of the flock. But if you're working, you might want something smaller like Maka. Maka's a medium-sized parrot, and he can get along just fine without me, as Bob can attest to. He cares that when I'm there, he's absolutely overjoyed. But if I'm not there, he's like, she'll come back sooner or later, hopefully, because my food bowl will get empty and then I'll squawk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say do research. Excuse me, Bob? What?
I loved his food bowl because there was a time when there were certain food that looked like Fruit Loops. It was multicolored.
And he won't.
No, I didn't try it. No, but it was cute.
Disclaimer: you didn't try it.
And yeah, they're all different colors, but he refuses to eat the green ones.
Yeah,
he just refuses to eat them. I have no idea why. Now I changed his food a little bit. Now it's this red ones he won't eat. So I don't know. He's a parrot. What can
Yeah.
I say?
Right. So
But
yeah.
I love him to death.
So like for like vet visits, like how often do you have to take take a bird to the vet?
Probably 2 times a year.
2 times a year? Okay.
They don't get any shots or anything like
Okay.
that because they don't get rabies or
Oh yeah, that's right.
fleas or ticks or anything like that. And twice a year, and usually what I get is what we call wings, nails, beak. So we get the sharpness of the beak kind of dremeled down a little bit so he doesn't draw blood when he has his beak on me. The same thing with the toenails. Cut the toenails a little so they're not so sharp. And this is a controversial part. Do you want to clip your bird's wings?
Mm-hmm.
I say yes for my particular circumstance because I don't want him flying off into the kitchen. I have a very small apartment, or into underneath my computer where there's all these wires, because I don't want him chewing on a wire or something, God forbid, or flying into the window or something like that.
Mhm.
So for me, clipping is great. If you have a big aviary, oh, I wish. But if you had a big aviary, it might not
Yeah.
be so much of a problem.
Right. Okay. And like food costs, like how much does it like how much does a bird eat? Like yeah, I'm just trying to think of like things that if any of our audience members are thinking about getting a bird, you know, I'm just kind of running down our
Yeah.
list here.
Good questions.
Yeah, bird food is kind of expensive. I get him a big bag of food. It's about $35, but it'll last for a month or a little bit
Oh,
more.
okay.
Now, I was lucky because I went to a food pantry and they happened to have a 50-pound bag of bird pellets. So
Wow.
I was like, I'm elated because I don't have to buy
Yeah.
any for a while now.
Yeah.
And a bird will only eat when he's hungry. So you can put food like a pellet out. Don't put fresh food out. He will also eat just about any people food you can give to him, except chocolate, which is deadly
Right.
for birds.
Yeah.
They love peanuts. I'm allergic to peanuts, but I had to teach him that a peanut was actually a food when he was a baby bird because he would just chase it around on the floor, not thinking it was a toy. So I had to kind of put it up to my mouth, not chew on it, but put it up to my mouth. And then he was like, oh, it's food.
Hey Bob, do you have any questions for Anne Marie?
Emery, you have a lot of knowledge of the birds in general, certainly parrots. I know you're part of several forums, and maybe you could just share a little bit about some of your interaction with other bird owners and some of their stories and things that you've come away from learning about, or that you helped them to learn through your experience through that forum.
Yeah, I'm the owner of the Myers Parrot group on Facebook. And we just had an interesting thing happen this morning. And there's a controversy about pellets or fresh food. And there was a big to-do over pellets. And so I had to kind of stop the conversation because it got personal where people were calling people, you're just stupid. And that's not helpful to anyone.
No.
But yeah, and I'm a member of a lot of other bird groups because there are certain things that are consistent between each species of parrot, and that's throwing food, pooping where they want to poop, biting, screaming. Maka can let out some pretty good screams sometimes. I see Bob laughing.
Yeah.
He can get kind of deafening at times.
Right.
But again, his flock is one that would be way spread out, so he needs to be loud to find his flock. He does flock calls.
Well, tell everyone his favorite expression.
Yeah, a flock call, and then you have to answer him.
Well, he goes,
Otherwise, he'll keep doing it because he wants to know where his flock is.
Right.
Flocks are very important, and I'm part of Maka's flock. Bob is part of Maka's flock. It's not hard to become one of Maka's flock. If you come over here consistently or you're here 4 or 5 times, he will automatically think you're part of the flock.
Oh,
And they remember. So if somebody who came into your house 6 months ago and hasn't been there, parrots will remember who they were. And they remember if you were nice or not.
Right.
So, and if they yell and scream, probably not a good idea to come back. Maka is my what I call my boyfriend raider. If a guy comes into the house and Maka likes him, that's a fine one to date. If a boy comes or a man comes into the house and Maka hates him, get him out of here. He's a really good gauge.
There you go.
For people.
Now you
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
You had a scary experience once where Maka, unless I'm misremembering this, but when Maka got loose one time, was flying around. Tell us that must have been scary for you, but Maka knew,
Maka knew. This was I talk about Maka and I as we. We were living in Iowa, out in the country in Iowa. And he was in a barn with 35 other parrots that I took care of. And what happened was I had his cage door open because I was changing the food and changing the water. And the water was in a big metal bowl. And I dropped the bowl on the cement floor of the barn. Scared Maka. He flew out of the cage, flew out of the barn. And I'm like, I'm never going to find this bird ever again, because we were rural. There was nothing around. And he survived 3 nights, 2 of which were a big thunderstorm in Iowa, thunderstorms are like nothing you've ever seen before. They're very violent. And he apparently survived an attack of sparrows because he hates sparrows now. But what happened was he actually flew back because we put his cage outside so that he knew where food and water was. But he flew back and he landed on the guy I was with at the time, who was a nasty guy.
Yeah.
And he landed on Stephen's shoulder. And when I came out of the house, because Stephen said, look who's here. And I came out of the house, Maka bit Stephen and flew over to me. The bird has better taste than I do.
Yeah.
Yes, and he tasted Stephen's like, nope, I don't like him.
You're nasty. I'm going away. And and I brought him into the house, which the landlord wouldn't. The reason he wasn't in the house was the landlord didn't want any kind of pet in the house. And in rural Iowa, dogs and cats and everything are frequently left outside because cats take care of the mouse problem. But birds are different. But he came into the house and we were barbecuing chicken. And he took a giant chicken breast and dragged it to the other side of the thing was bigger than he is.
Oh my gosh.
Dragged it to the other side of the table and proceeded to kind of eat this chicken breast, which, is he a cannibal? Yes. But he was so tired. I brought him to the vet the day after that just to make sure he hadn't been injured or got something. But to this day, he hates sparrows. He will yell. He will try to attack through the window. So that's why I say I think he encountered a flock of sparrows who might have attacked him, at the very least rejected him.
Right.
But sparrows can be very aggressive. So I suspect he had a run-in with some. But he's cool. He got over it.
Yeah, we've been hearing him all throughout this interview. We hear you.
And that's just a minor calls. That's not the screaming.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know birds can get pretty loud. So I know it's like he's being pretty tame right now.
He is. He just hears me talking and he hears you guys and he wants to participate.
Right.
And he does talk. He says night night, which is his favorite phrase. And he'll say night night all day long, depending on what he wants. If he's standing on his food bowl and saying night night, it means, and mommy, I need something different in my food bowl. I'm bored with this.
Yeah.
If he's on his water bowl and doing that, it means, Mom, I just took a bath. Can you change my water, please?
Yeah.
And I tried, he takes a bath in his water bowl, which is kind of small. And I tried putting out a bigger pan of water that wasn't deep. So he drank out of the big pan and still took a bath in the small one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. He just decided that's his bath water.
Right.
But and it's funny because he understands more human words than I understand Myers words.
Yeah,
Myers
Oh, okay.
noises.
Awesome.
So who's smarter here?
Yeah.
And he uses manipulation because he knows if he does something naughty, first of all, if he does something naughty and I tell him that he's naughty, he will bow his head and go down into the corner of the cage, like he's sitting in the corner because he was bad.
Right.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But then he'll say, Mommy, and that's the end of that. I can't resist it when he says mommy, which is why I never had kids, because they would find exactly the right thing to say and they could get away with everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
he's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, he rode in the cage all the way from Iowa to New Jersey, and my mom was with us at the time, and the cage had to sit on Mom's lap, because otherwise if he was sitting in the back he would scream and scream and scream, and you don't want to drive 1,500 miles with a screaming parrot in the car.
Oh gosh. No.
No.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Anne Marie, for being our very first guest on Member Spotlight. And
Thank you.
Yes, you've been part
Thanks
of the
for sharing
show.
the story.
Thank you.
And thank you, Maka.
Thank you, Maka. All right. Well, I want to thank Anne Marie for joining us today for our first member spotlight. Again, folks, if you would like to be part of the member spotlight and talk about your pet, or about any tricks that they can do, how you became to the adoption of your pet, please, again, send a request. Reach out to us.
We need to share the story, so we need you.
Thank you, guys. We had an awesome time on our very first show, and I thought this is. I'm looking forward to a lot more episodes. And everybody and anybody is welcome on this show. So
Absolutely.
please, if you're a snake person, you're welcome. If you're a lizard person, you're welcome. If you love the precious kitty cats, because yes, I'm biased because I love cats, but cats, dogs, fish, fish people, come on down, like we would love to have you on the show. So
you have a camel, whatever you have,
No, I would be impressed if there was a camel,
a dolphin, whatever you have,
So yeah, whatever animal you have, please, we would love to speak with you. And thank you to Anne Marie, our very first guest on this show, for participating. Again, anybody and everybody is welcome to come on the show. Any region. The co-hosts are from Region 7, but all regions are welcome to
Absolutely.
the show.
Yep.
So
come and join us.
Excellent.
Where's me rum?